Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be updating on Bitcoin, why you shouldn't necessarily be too worried. And now, obviously, Bitcoin is down to $60,000, 500. It is down roughly 5% on the day. We are going to be looking at all of that, and we're also going to be looking at some chart analysis with moving averages, as well as the 20-week EMA. We're going to be discussing that on the TradingView chart. But we are going to talk about moving averages with BitBuy. BitBuy obviously has partnered up with the channel to bring you TA Tuesday, so we'll be covering that today. If you want to get signed up with BitBuy, you can go ahead and click on the link down in the description below. Okay, so let's get into Bitcoin and where it is right now. I want to talk about a couple of things. Now, one thing to keep in mind is what looks different from, say, this drop and 2017, and say what looks different from this move that we've had recently, going up to new all-time highs and now down roughly 5%. A lot of people are screaming that the sky is falling. Now, I'm not saying that we can't go down. Of course, we absolutely can. I'm even saying that we could even get a retracement, a price drop before the end of the year. So I wanted to take a look quickly at this chart here. This is the Bitcoin MVRV Z score. And obviously I'm Canadian. So here in this chart, it shows you exactly where we have potential profits or losses, and that is unrealized. And in certain territories, it kind of marks the peak in a way, right? It doesn't exactly mark a peak, but you can kind of see it numerous times. Here we had that kind of first peak. Well, I mean, everything was peaking in the first kind of run of Bitcoin, but we see that first peak, and then we see our double peak. Both times we have an incredible amount of unrealized overheated market profits. And then continuing here, we see the MVRV score go up again for 2017. So still pretty high scores going up for 2017, but we didn't quite get that until the peak. That's when we started crossing it and going up into that range. So you could see over time with dramatically longer cycles and less peaks, this peak will go down over time, which it looks like it's representing that. Now, it didn't go down that much from here, but it did go down slightly. I can't measure it, obviously, because it's an image. But if we look at here where we see that Wyckoff kind of distribution that we had, we see that peak, we kind of get into that overheated market territory, but quickly get rejected out of it and come back down. During this time, we held an incredible amount of support, and now Bitcoin is actually shooting up to new levels with a low amount of volume. A low amount of trading volume is actually in the network. Now, another thing to mention is that the exchange outflows of Bitcoin is increasingly going lower and lower, which means more Bitcoin is leaving exchanges than coming in. Now, I assume that's probably changed now because obviously Bitcoin's down 5%, potentially even a little bit more, going down about 5% here. $60,000, and I even saw it today sub 60, so it did go down into the 59k range earlier today. And again, I've said this on the live streams too, that we could potentially see a December sell-off because of emotions, people selling here, but we do see a couple of big things. Now, I want to bring you over to the BitBuy screen to talk about a couple of things here. Now, first, I want to point out the volume. The volume has been incredibly low over the period of time compared to this kind of price rise up here. We had a lot of high volume down in this area going up for our Wyckoff distribution, some people would call that. And then we just didn't recover that volume, but we did pump. We pumped up a lot, but regardless of the volume, we were still able to make that move up, which tells us a couple of things. One, it could be a false rally, which to me, this doesn't look like a rally. It more looks like a consolidation upwards in a lot of ways. At least this part does. Maybe not so much here, but this could be attributed because of all the repression down here. We were pushed down pretty deep as Bitcoin started leaving exchanges, and that's happening more and more. So it's not getting any better. The price has to go up eventually, even if we get a sell-off in the near term. And again, we have critical levels at 52,000. 42,000, then again at 30,000. So we have a lot of support going down on Bitcoin. We're not going to see some of those levels. I would probably bet that we're not going to see below 30K Bitcoin in our lifetimes. So, moving average. And again, if you want to sign up for the safest exchange in Canada, go ahead and click on the link in the description below. You'll get a sign up bonus when you deposit your first bit of crypto or a fiat currency. But we do see here the white line that we have initiated here is our moving average. So right here specifically is an exponential moving average. Now there are just smoothing moving averages or exponential moving averages. Here we have this set to the 20 and we are on the daily time frame here. So we are looking at the 20-day EMA. EMA. If we did want to insert another average and come in and insert indicator and type in SMA and get the smooth moving average, you can also just type in moving average. So now we have that red line that popped up. So if we go right click on that red line, decided to isolate it. So if we right click on this red line and then just hit format, we can go ahead and change what our smooth moving average is. So we can change this to 20 and make it our 20-day moving average. We can make it our 10-day moving average if we wanted to by formatting and select 10. Now, if we wanted to change it to hours or whatever other time frames, you can just go here, select your different time frame on the bit by chart, and just select which time frame you're looking for. Now, the moving averages are a delayed indicator, and it goes with the average of the chart. A lot of people might notice what a moving average is based on, say, if you've been looking at COVID charts or any other charts in the world, you obviously know what a moving average is. I'd probably say one of the most popular moving averages in at least media, not so much chart analysis, is something like the 7-day. So if you wanted to just go ahead and change that to the 7-day, we have right here our 7-day moving average, which we are still showing some support, or at least testing that 7-day moving average right now. So the reason why I discuss this, we're going here because we want to talk about our weekly average, and we can't talk about the weekly average on BitBuy, unfortunately. But if we wanted to include an indicator like the EMA, so the moving average exponential, so the exponential moving average, and we change this to our 20. So here's our 20-week EMA. Now it's important. This line is an important line for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency, and we're not even close to testing it just yet. We have tested this below a couple of times, and we've also broken through it. Now, the reason why I'm pointing out the 20-week EMA is because you can see the majority of the time that we do hit the 20-week EMA, or we test the 20-week EMA, we rarely go below that test point again. So we did test it here, coming back up above that 20-week EMA, where we were able to hold support at that and bounce off. And now we're going to be looking at whether or not we're going to test it again at some point, or just continue upwards to a crash. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because usually when we test the 20-week EMA, we rarely see that level below the 20-week EMA ever again. So for example, here we tested that. We haven't seen that represent back in the chart. So back roughly at $10,000 when a lot of people got gapped out when Bitcoin just shot up at that point. You can also see that represented numerous times when we were retesting the 20-week EMA here and here. Again, never saw those prices. You can even see here that down at the bottom wick, we didn't even test that. You can see the line, and I'm pointing at my screen as if you can see my finger. But more importantly, if we look at other market cycles, right? So we see where it tested here. And of course, we break through at times, so we don't always find support. But when we do find support, when we are able to make that support, we rarely see those prices again, right? So it's important to keep that in mind. We haven't seen it kind of go down that level. Now, we will see this. This could be one of the first times in a long time that we see anything remotely like that. I think the only thing that kind of represents this in a way, even if you can call it a testing, is like this move here, but I don't even consider this a true test on the 20-week EMA. So what I'm trying to say is there could be an argument based on the 20-week EMA that we might not see a price below 42,000. Now, I'm not really that bullish on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. I do think that it is possible for us to see a mass capitulation event to bring us down sub 40K. I do think that's absolutely possible. Is it realistic? I'd say it's less likely, but it is pretty realistic in a way. If we get a huge market sentiment of extreme fear, we could potentially see a lot of people dropping. And I guess that's something that I'll kind of top off the video with. When you're looking at something like the fear and greed index, obviously right now we're still in the greed territory. I don't think that there's any reason to panic. I don't think we're going to go down. I think we have a lot of levels that hold support, especially at 52,000. I don't think we're going to go sub 52,000. It is possible that we go sub 52,000 if we do get a mass capitulation and get a lot of selling pressure, because people are thinking that this is a false peak and getting ready for a December, January 2017, 2018 like capitulation down into a bear market. A lot of people are going to be prepping for that. Obviously, if you believe in lengthening market cycles, you probably believe that the market peak is going to be kind of more in the March, April kind of range of 2022. So we still have a little bit, but that doesn't mean we're not immune to big drops, right? It doesn't mean they're immune to Bitcoin taking off 50% or 20% or 30% off of the value. We've seen it before. Obviously, recently we had one of the largest capitulation events right here. So who's to say that we couldn't see Bitcoin go down, kind of test those levels, and then maybe continue on for a market peak into the Q2 or Q3 of 2022. Ultimately, we'll see exactly where it goes, but I'm pretty bullish and pretty hopeful on where we're going to go. I'm not really concerned in any way. Of course, a lot of people can look at this as a buying opportunity. I would just stress, err on the side of caution. We could go down a little bit more, so just be ready for picking up some coins. Hopefully this video kind of helped you understand my thinking. I'm not overly bearish, although this video can maybe sound a little bit bearish. I'm more bullish, macro bullish on the market. But again, that doesn't mean that we can't see a normal drop in the near term, especially something that's within the 10 to 15% of a drop. That's nothing in the grand scheme of cryptocurrency, but we'll see how this plays out over the next couple of days. We're still pretty bullish on Bitcoin. We're still in a bullish trend. So of course, I'm not really worried at this point. That's it for me. If you do want to get signed up with the safest exchange in Canada and help support the channel, you can go ahead and click on the link in the description below for BitBuy. Go ahead and give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and obviously happy hodling. All right, everyone, take it easy.